Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of Real Talk. So what's up everybody, how's it going? I am Adrian.
I'm Daniel.
And I am Rob.
So we're back in the studio apart from Rob. Daniel and I are right next to each other.
Well, I'm in my own studio, so technically I am still in a studio.
Yeah,
Oh.
I see your studio.
It's coming
is
along.
You in the Horror Nights studio or?
No,
It's nice.
this is the Howling Hour studio. Thank you very much, Adrian.
Okay, nice plug. Well,
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks to Danny's tip on lighting on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I got just the right lighting going everywhere around here, so we're
Looks
good
really
to go.
good. I mean, you're putting me to shame, pretty much.
Nice.
Well,
You listen to my pointers.
no. If you
Oh, you
didn't
listened to
listen,
Daniel's
I was
pointers.
listening to Danny's pointers
Yeah.
on lighting, so that's
Okay.
the contrast and all that stuff. So thanks, Danny.
And for those of you who are watching, we're looking at Rob on the. So if you think we're just looking away, being weird, we're actually looking at Rob on our monitor. So yeah.
Yeah, I
So
try to
forgive us.
I try to get my monitor like as close as I can to like the lens, so I could like at least get you in my peripherals.
Oh, okay.
So what you
yeah.
guys can say is Rob's the smart one.
He is. He has more space,
Yeah, I got more space. I don't have kids. That's what it is. So
pretty much.
it's
Yeah,
all
that's
mine. It's all mine.
Yeah, behind us, covered in those black sheets, is just a bunch of toys and diapers and stuff. But
It's
yeah.
real life. It's real life. Quarantine life.
Uh-huh.
Well, guys, we got a lot to unpack for today's episode. So
Let's unpack it, Adrian. Let's unpack it.
I guess we'll start with the big news of the week, and that is Disney moving Mulan out of theaters and into Disney Plus with a additional fee. I believe it is going to be what, $29.99?
Yes, $30.
$30. Let's just call it even. $30.
$30 one-time purchase. So I guess we could talk about what do you guys think about that? Like, first off, what do you guys think about that? And are you willing to spend $30 for that? And what are your thoughts?
I think we all know why we're laughing.
I get that answer. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Danny. You take this one first.
All right. Okay, so this is that was like kind of like a two-part question, sort of. Well, I mean, what we feel about it and are we gonna pay for it? So first, to answer your first part, it's hard to say because we're still in uncharted territory. I mean, we did see the success of Trolls, but that was like 20, right?
It was $20 to
This
rent.
one, yeah.
Yeah. So
and you couldn't buy it for like, I want to say almost a month after, I think.
No, it was
it immediate?
It was long.
It was longer. It was like the 3-month
longer.
window.
Yeah.
Okay.
it was
so
longer than
okay, they did follow like the whole
Yeah,
90-day
'cause
window.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I mean, $30 is a lot. It's weird because it's a good deal for obviously families who have kids and stuff. I mean, because you figure out like, okay,
Yeah.
between going to the movies and then paying it, to rent at home, it ends up being cheaper for a family of like 4 or 5. But for all my single friends or whoever, I mean, $30.
Kidless friends.
Yeah, so $30.
Like Rob,
$30 is
he who is without child.
Yes.
might be a tough pill to swallow. So it's definitely interesting.
It's a bit steep, yeah.
So-
I mean,
Go on.
well, my thing here is that Mulan seemed definitely like an event film, something that you wanted to see because a lot of action, a lot of visuals taking place in that film. From the shots that we've seen and from the trailers and whatnot, it's looked like something you needed to see on a big screen, like an IMAX
Yeah.
or Dolby Cinema or RPX, whatever. And for them to kind of move it like that, it kind of diminishes that. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't care because I've seen them. I've been to friends' houses and whatnot. I don't care how big your home theater is. It's not the same thing. Like I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. There's no way you're going to convince me.
Right.
It's an entirely different experience. And and to put it behind, and then also to put it behind a $30 paywall. Like, I have kids, I'm still not going to pay $30 to put it behind that paywall. And from what I've read is that you pay for it, but then if you cancel your subscription, you lose that $30 purchase as well. So that really sucks. So I mean, and then why am I going to pay $30 for something that?
So I'm a little confused on that. So if you cancel your subscription, say if you want to renew it later on in the year, do you retain?
I don't know. I mean, maybe maybe they just kind of put your account on hold. If you use all the same information that you previously used, then maybe it comes back. But from what I had read was that like you have to maintain your subscription, and if you don't, then you can basically lose that $30.
I feel like it might be something along the lines of if you I didn't read anything into detail, but I feel like maybe it's something along the lines of where you buy it, you might be locked into Disney Plus for like a couple months, maybe something like that. But I don't exactly know. Like I haven't heard anything like what you're talking about, Adrian. That's kind of news to me.
Well, how do you feel about it though?
Like, I mean, do you even have Disney Plus, Rob? I know you don't have any.
No. Yes, I do have Disney Plus. I'm a very large child at heart.
Okay, that's nice.
But, yeah,
but I have. He's an uncle as well, so
yeah, I'm an uncle, so I do have Disney Plus. I do have family members who come over and watch who have kids and
on your beautiful OLED that you got there.
On my beautiful OLED that I have, and but you know what?
Not all of us can be 720, huh?
Yeah. Hey, you. I told you guys, you're more than welcome to come over and watch. I got 4K movies. You can watch them all. But here's the thing. I have mixed feelings about it because Disney can pretty much do whatever they want. And I was talking to some other people. I was like, Disney's like they're gonna do whatever, and people are still gonna go along with it because it's Disney. But for me, would I pay that extra $30 to watch Mulan on Disney Plus? Probably, because for a few reasons. One, I want to see it because it was supposed to be an event film. Two, I would want to review it on the channel.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's just like and here's the thing where I'm kind of not, I guess if upset is the right word, but I'm already paying like, the $6.99 or whatever it is for Disney Plus, but I have Hulu and ESPN hooked up with it, so I get the bundle. But I'm already paying something for Disney Plus, and then they're gonna be like, hey, do you want to watch this movie? You got to pay an extra $30. And I don't know, like I feel like it should have been something along the lines of like, hey, you can watch it for $30, like if you don't have Disney Plus, but if you have Disney Plus, maybe cut us a break and it's like, whatever, $14.99 or even $19.99. I'd be more okay with that. But
right.
I don't know. I feel like it's just it's a little too much. I would probably pay it, but I would pay it angrily if you get what I'm saying. Begrudgingly pay it. Yes. I'd begrudgingly pay it.
I agree with you. I think if anything that to me, but again, what do I know? I'm not Disney full of marketers and business people with degrees and whatnot. But for me, the smart thing would have been just to release, if you're going to do that, release it for $30 across all platforms, iTunes, Vudu, whatever, for people to purchase. And then kind of like what you're saying, if you have a subscription to Disney Plus, you get maybe like a discount, like what you're saying, like $20 instead of, because then, maybe some people that convince some people to, well, maybe I should sub, and then pay $20 or whatever, I don't know. My thing is I just don't, I really am not looking forward to purchasing the film for $30 because I know it's, and that's the thing too, is are they gonna not put it on Disney Plus for like an entire year?
Well, are you not? Are you even purchasing it? Are you just renting it? That's the thing too. Are you actually buying the movie, or you're just renting?
Well, that's what I was saying. From what I had read, is that it is kind of like a purchase, as long as you maintain your subscription. If you don't, if you get rid of your subscription, then you don't have that digital copy anymore, basically.
Nah,
so,
I don't like that.
Yeah, see, I don't like that either, and it's something that will probably eventually end up on the service anyway.
Yeah.
but they probably won't put it on after the 30-day window. They'll probably wait till next year. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I feel like you're kind of blocking out some of the market, in my opinion. I think like some of the people that are potential viewers are probably not going to see it.
Right. As far as me, you already know I'm definitely not paying for it. So I am. I'll leave it at that. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I was thinking right now, that this is gonna be like an important, like a thing to keep an eye out, because this very well may shape the model and just everything in general as far as theaters
Yeah.
and
And
stuff
if
like
you
that.
had read
Yep.
the interview with the Disney marketing team, I believe it was. I forget who it was exactly, but he had said basically like, this is a one-off. We're not going to do this with like Black Widow or some other film, but it's almost like he said it without saying it. Basically, is that we're testing the waters. We're trying to see what this
Right.
does and what the outcome is going forward. So like what Daniel's point is that, you know, how this performs and what it looks like for Disney, I guess meaning like if they get more subs and all that other stuff, this might be a new business model for them going forward, and who knows what may happen. So it's a very interesting time, very weird.
Yeah, I to be honest, I kind of want to see it fail, because I love going to the movie theaters, and I don't want that to go away.
I don't think
so.
yeah.
Go ahead. What?
No, I don't think that it'll fully go away. And I think we kind of touched on this a little bit last week, is that I think what will just end up happening is that their major films that they know are going to make, you know, gangbusters, you know, will be like, those will be the films that they stay in theaters, and the other ones will come to VOD or whatever. You know, I don't know. But here's the question though. I don't know. Do you guys think there's a reason why they're doing this with Mulan, which was going to be a very big moneymaker, instead of doing it with the film, say like New Mutants, right? Which has been in
That's
production
true.
limbo.
That's a good question.
You know, they could have tried to because they can afford to lose money on that one anyway, because Fox was the one who basically shelled out all the money for the production before they got bought out. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
This is just pure my own opinion and my own speculation in my head. One, I think that they've been pushing Mulan back and back since March, I believe. So that's one reason. And I also think maybe like you had said, they're testing the waters, and you don't want to test the waters with. Obviously, I'm waiting for New Mutants. I'm excited. I'm probably more excited to see New Mutants than I am Mulan. But I'm a very small group of people,
Yeah.
in that sense. Whereas if you're gonna test the waters, you want to do it with a big blockbuster
A
movie
larger
to see,
film,
right?
which will
To
make more
see
money. Makes
to
sense.
see
Yeah.
like, okay, how much money will this big movie make as opposed to a smaller movie, and which, you know,
Yeah.
like even in theaters, you know, New Mutants isn't gonna crack what Mulan does. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the main reason why I think they
No, that makes
put
sense.
Mulan out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Danny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. To be
Okay,
honest.
you got nothing to say.
Yeah, I got
All right,
nothing
let's go to
say.
the next topic, because Daniel's got nothing to say. All right. And actually, Daniel, you are the one who has something to say. What was that next topic that you were wanting to talk about? While I drink my water.
So there's a YouTuber that I follow. His name is Spare Change. He does like a lot of Blu-ray and 4K movie reviews, like the actual quality and disc, like are they good, like transfers and all that stuff.
Okay.
You guys should definitely check him out. It's really interesting. So yeah, he posted something about how like just like the streaming market and just disc sales and stuff like that. Obviously streaming is obviously everyone's preferred way nowadays, but one thing that actually stood out to me was I guess in the week of ended in August 1st, the way they split the 50 disc sellers, it was 71% DVD, 24% Blu-ray, and 4% UHD, 4K Blu-rays. And I don't know, it's puzzling and interesting that people still buy DVDs, and that's pretty much the whole market as far as physical media. Like, it's DVDs, and we're already into 4K Blu-rays, and so like it's just I trip out that it's the majority of disc sales are still on DVD. I don't know, what's your guys take on that?
Well, when you had shared that with us earlier, I thought, I actually put some thought into it, and I was just like, you know what? I feel like it kind of makes sense, because knowing what I know, here's the thing, is I feel like DVDs are on the more lower end as far as price. And you really don't
True.
need like if you get a Blu-ray player, you need, I mean, if you start going Blu-rays, you need a Blu-ray player. You get a 4K player, obviously you can play your Blu-rays, but the end game is to step it up to 4K. And
Right.
all that to actually just recently having to, not having to, but recently just purchasing kind of stuff to make my 4K TV, what the best picture it possibly can get. There's a lot of money invested into that, and I feel like DVDs are more simple, they're less expensive, and you don't really have to put too much into you don't have to put too much money into making a DVD I guess show at its best quality. You got to get a DVD player, HDMI, or even what some people use, the components, put it in, and there you go. Whereas I feel like even with Blu-rays and 4Ks, there's, you buy, let's just say $1,000 4K TV, and you got to spend another, 150 to 250 on a player, and then the cables, higher end cables, those cost more. So I feel like more people do kind of research into it. I think DVDs are probably, I know I'm kind of long-winded right now, but I feel like DVDs are the more simpler, less expensive option. So that's kind of what I thought when you sent me.
You are long-winded.
Yeah, sorry
Adrian.
about that, guys.
Adrian's
Well,
a
no,
jerk.
I have a question though about his analytics there. Saying like what 70%, 71% of the home physical medium market. From what time to what time was that? Is that like,
I don't know. It was just a snippet, so I can't really say like when, like when exactly. It just says the week of August 1st. So
Okay.
maybe it's just within that week.
the
but-
week of August 1st?
Yeah, but
The fact that people still purchase DVDs is interesting to you.
yeah,
I'm sorry. That's why I was looking down right now, because I was trying to find when they I'm pretty sure they stopped printing DVDs. I think last year, or whatever, like just like regular DVDs, and everything is either Blu-ray or 4K now.
That's even
I
more
could
of a
be
reason
wrong,
why
but
that's even more of a reason why people would probably buy DVDs, because they're probably selling them a lot less.
well, that's what what I
Yeah.
mean. Like if the price went up, I mean, if the price went up, but if they stopped printing them, then I would say that the price would kind of like drop, and then like most stores like Walmart, Target, whatever, they're just trying to get rid of their DVD stock.
Yeah.
So they have
Yeah.
those bargain bins or whatever.
Yeah, they're in the
And they're just
$5
trying to get rid of them.
box.
And what's funny is that there's still a lot of, believe it or not, there's still, and this is probably another factor, is that there's still a lot of films that were printed on DVD that haven't been printed or transferred over to Blu-ray yet.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
And so like for me, like that's one of the big reasons why I still keep my physical medium, because it's like there's quite a few films that I haven't even seen on Blu-ray yet, and I'm like, I'm keeping I'm keeping my DVDs, I'm keeping my Blu-rays for as long as possible, because because there's an interesting article that, and I fully agree with, because the way it is now, a lot of and I guess I could go into our next topic, right? Which is Disney.
It's a rumor, so it's not
rumored.
official, but this person had a lot of sources and
Inside sources.
Yeah,
basically rumored they're not going to be printing any more physical medium for their older films.
yeah, like 4K physical media.
4K and all that. So like when you think about streamers and you think about like not everything can be found on digital or streaming yet. And even like some of these channels like Disney, there's still quite a bit on there that is not available, that are Disney properties. And, but I have them on DVD, and so if I ever want to watch that particular film, I have a physical copy. And so that's a big reason why I keep my physical library. And that's another reason why I continue to purchase, Blu-rays and DVDs, because if they ever, for whatever reason, the grid goes down, whatever, I still have all my movies there. And, I'll be like the Book of Eli, where I just need to save all movies.
Well, Rob, do you buy physical media, or are you strictly digital?
I do. No. I love physical media. I still have, VHS tapes, so don't judge me. I have my DVDs put away. My wife only lets me bring out some of them, so most of my DVDs are put away. But I do have like my Blu-ray and my 4K out. But yeah, I like to buy physical media for I don't know, for me personally, I always feel like a hard copy of something just looks better. And I know, like, Disney Plus has, the like the Star Wars have been, remastered to be in 4K and stuff like that, and they look amazing. But this is now, like, before that, I feel like streaming just I didn't get the best picture with streaming.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, is like the physical medium is still better than the digital streaming quality, like, because it's contingent on your internet speed and all those things.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you can purchase a 4K or HUD or UHD copy online and watch it, but if your connection isn't the best, or even if it is the best, it's still, because I've seen them, they're still not quite as good as the physical medium. And so, like, I that's why another big reason why I still continue to purchase Blu-rays and DVDs, so I can watch them beautifully on my 720.
Well, it's interesting, like, going forward, because, like, like I mentioned in the article, well, Adrian brought it up, as far as Disney, because they're gonna stop production as far as 4K, from their backlog, from their the vaults and all that stuff. Not like, from what I understand, is that they're still gonna make 4K physical media for, like, their new releases and all that stuff.
Okay.
But what's interesting to me is, like Adrian said, as far as, like, internet connection and all that stuff. But even if you do have a fast internet connection, I'm not even talking about quality. Is this that a lot of internet providers have a cap each month?
Yeah, right.
Depending on your cable provider or internet provider, there's a cap. So it's like, you can watch all the 4K media 4K streaming you want, but then your internet's bill might go high, or they might cap you and, like, shut off your internet or whatever. So that's another thing. I wonder how that's gonna tie into, like, how internet providers are gonna respond to that. Because for people who don't know, 4K bit rate is extremely high. It's like, for like one movie is probably like 60 gigs of gigabytes, but you have to, like, pump out 4K content through internet connection. That's a lot of gigs, and just off of watching a 4K, watching it, through a streaming service. So that's gonna be an interesting thing as far as what the future holds, with 4K media, physical media, and just streaming in general.
Yeah, we're in the heart of the streaming wars. Everybody's got a streaming channel, and everybody's got streaming this, streaming that, and like what we're talking about, they're starting to do away more and more with the physical medium. And for me, my concern isn't so much newer films, because it seems like pretty much the studios are going to continue to release newer films on digital. But a lot of, like what I was talking about, these older films, which I like to collect and see, are becoming more and more scarce. And for me, it's like, maybe call me a dinosaur, or, just say, okay, boomer, shut up. But, like, You know, like there's a lot of good classic solid films that people haven't seen, and you would like to show those to a younger generation, because I you know, because I like, especially at my church that I'm at, like a lot of younger kids that are like getting into film or whatever, and they talk to me like, hey, you know, like they're like early, like they're late teens, early 20s, and they're talking to me like, I want to go to film school or this and that, whatever. We start talking about films, and then I start talking. They'll mention a film. I'm like, oh yeah, that reminds me of.
Have you watched Citizen Kane?
No, I'm not that bad, but like, oh, they'll mention
You
something.
mean
It's
like
like,
Kane
yeah,
from
I'm like, oh
WWE?
yeah, that yeah. Or that reminds me of this scene from this classic film or whatever, and like they don't necessarily know what I'm talking about, or like, oh, what's that film, or whatever. And it's cool to like kind of turn them on to like these older films, because then they get a sense of film history, and you know, they get a sense of what came before, and then they can appreciate it, and then they can appreciate what they just watched even more. And I think, you know, if we lose a bit of that history because, you know, the studios don't care enough to put them on a streamer or on, you know, or get them out there online, then, you know, we're losing something, you know, just because a film isn't Citizen Kane, or a film isn't, you know, Gone with the Wind, or Lawrence of Arabia, or whatever, you know, these more popular classic films, you know, there's tons of other classic films that are going to get lost.
Right.
And that's where I feel a little bit more concerned.
And that's the thing I was afraid of, like, because when Disney acquired Fox, you know, because they have a lot of stuff, a lot of good classics from Fox.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing that you know, the thing that they're not going to be releasing, you know, a lot of Fox movies on 4K.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I heard, because you know, like the old movie theaters, like the dollar shows, you know, they show like old classics and stuff.
Yeah.
I heard like as soon as they Disney acquired Fox, that they
pulled all of them.
Yeah, they pulled all these,
which really
movies.
Sucks, because again, you know, yeah, like what you're saying, Fox is a huge library with like a lot of classic films from the Fox studios. But yeah, Disney was the worst in terms of leasing out their classic films. They like never let, you know, just from, I remember from the time I was working at a cinema, like when we wanted to book like classic films, it was like kind of like, don't even bother asking to rent it, because like we know they're going to say no.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that sucks, is because yeah, you got classic films like Sound of Music, or other films, even the classic Planet of the Apes, you know, those you know, Fox films.
Yeah, I saw Aliens and Halloween. I don't know if is Halloween Fox or no. I don't know.
I think Halloween is Universal.
Is it? Oh, well. Yeah, like I saw Aliens in theaters, and it was awesome, you know, like, and that's gonna suck that you're not gonna be able to see it in a theater, you know, because
and that's the thing too, because what a lot of theaters were probably going to be relying on. It's a good point that you bring up, because it makes for an easier segue, is that the a lot of these theaters are slowly tapering back. They're going to be showing a lot of classic films. Like I've seen Regal, that they're doing like $5 for adults, $3 for children. They're showing like all these other, you know, older films, which, you know, is cool, because, you know, like, you know, you, like I was saying earlier, is you get to introduce this younger generation into some of these classic films that they may have never seen before, you know, and they get to experience on a big screen like what it was back in the day when those films first came out. When you have that experience, and again, that goes back to my first point about saying, I don't care how big your home theater system is. There's nothing that can beat the experience of going to a cinema, watching in a community of people, and seeing those, you know, for the first time. It changes your opinion of the film sometimes, even.
Completely agree with you, Adrian. The theater is just a whole different experience. But like, I feel like I've said this before. I feel like that's a dying feeling, and it's dying with, you know, it's staying alive, like you're saying, with kids who are like, hey, this film, that film, I want to get into film, and you people like us sharing. But I think overall, I feel like it's just, you know, I don't want it to go away. I love the theater, and you know, you're right. There's, you know, my TV has nothing on the huge, even just watching, like, I remember going to see Tarantino's The Hateful Eight, but it was like on the 70 millimeter. It was
Okay,
like
you did the road show.
yeah, I did the road show, and just like and I was explaining to my wife, like, just it wasn't, it didn't have like, you know, the, I guess the pop that a normal, like a digital projection
Right.
would. But I was just like, look at like the just the tones and
You
just
could see the
the,
tones.
yeah, like the
There's
color,
more
it's
texture.
warm, yeah. And I was
There's
just
more
explaining
texture in the
stuff to
image.
her while we were watching the movie, and she's like, oh
The
yeah,
the
I
thing that
see
people
that.
tend, yeah, the thing that people tend to focus on when they watch a film in 35 or 70, like what you saw, versus what they see in the digital format, is the biggest noticeable difference. Really, is just how sharp the picture is.
Yeah,
Film isn't quite as sharp of an image as digital, but
The
the
colors are
trade-off is
better.
the
it's
colors, the
yeah,
blacks,
it's
the
beautiful. It's
texture.
honestly, it's beautiful to watch. It's something
It's
beautiful to watch.
it's a true moving image, and it's something that, when you do see it, it's a true experience. And
Yeah.
you know even when I was working as a, I might have shared this story before, but when I was working as a projectionist for a local theater chain, we, like I said before, we were showing classic films from time to time. We showed the original Jurassic Park, and I did a
That's
quality check for
awesome.
it.
That's awesome.
And as I was rolling it, and I was like, let me go get out of the booth, let me go down to the auditorium just to see how it feels and sounds in the auditorium. And when I watched it, I mean, God, I got goosebumps almost, because it was like I felt like a kid again watching it for the first time again. And because it had that film, the
So
grain, the textures, the colors,
you.
and it was like, it took me back, and I was like, this is what cinema is about. This is what movies are
So
about.
it was on actual film then.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was really cool because that the particular theater chain that I worked for, they always, whenever we showed classic films, they always did their best to get 35 millimeter prints, because they always talked about, the quality of sight and sound,
Yeah.
and showing the best image, and then also providing that experience. And so that's why they understood, the quality of a 35 millimeter print. And so that's why we always tried to get that. And so it's cool, man. Like we did so many screenings in 35. It was such a great experience, doing it.
Yeah, I love film. Like, just like you could tell, like right off the bat, like like between film and digital and stuff. Like you could, like I could look at a movie and be like, okay, that was shot on film, and then all that was shot on digital. Like for instance, like the Star Trek movies,
The J.J. Abrams one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to go see, because I went to like a marathon for leading up to Beyond, Star Trek Beyond. So I saw them back to back to back, and then like when Beyond came on, I was like, "Is this not popping? Like it's just like
The
there's
colors
something
looked
different."
it looked more flat, and it didn't
then-
have like the
Yeah,
the
and I didn't
darkness.
at the time. I didn't think anything of it, and then I remember one time you mentioned it. You're like, oh, like Star Trek Beyond's not in. It's not shot on film; it's in digital. I was like, oh. Then it clicked. I was like, that's what it was. I was like,
That's
because the
why
first
you
two,
lose some of the luster of it.
yeah, because the first two they just like pop and like they look amazing and stuff. And then when you watch Beyond, it's kind of like almost not necessarily washed. Well, I guess washed out, but yeah. So it's like,
Yeah, they just don't look as good. They
Yeah.
don't pop as much, and that's what happens.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Now that you brought up Star Trek, that'd be a good time to talk about Star Trek, because I'm a huge Trek fan, Rob. If you want to, really quickly, Paramount is working on. They have three different. They have three different scripts in the works. One is a Calvin sequel, the Calvin timeline, which is the J.J. Abrams timeline. So with that same cast and crew, continuing with that. I forgot who was working on the other one. Shut up, Rob. Okay, this last one will catch your attention. And the last one they said is going to be penned, or as actually already being penned by Quentin Tarantino, which
Now
there you
got
go.
his attention.
Which they said is going to have like 1930s gangsters, which is possibly a riff off of one classic original series episode called "The Piece of the Action," or from what I also read is possibly a City on the Edge of Tomorrow, which is another great episode. It's actually probably my favorite episode of one of the original series. But Rob, Does any of that interest you? What do you think they should do with the series going forward? What do you think? Because they've been underperforming in the last couple of years.
You know what? Here's the thing. You're talking
You
about the
not being a Star Trek fan,
me
I want to
me.
hear your opinion.
Okay, me
What would get
not.
you into the seat and interested and excited to go see it?
You know what? I'll say this. I I seen the J.J. Abrams Star Trek in theater. I like them. I couldn't get into the TV show, but the movies, these recent movies, I'm not a huge fan of the movies that had came out before. I've seen a couple of them, but nothing caught my attention. But the newer ones, I really did enjoy. Even though I know people hated was it Into the Darkness or in the second
Into the second one, the second Abrams one.
yeah,
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 Into Dark.
yeah,
Into Darkness.
Into Darkness. I know that one. I feel like at the time, I think people were giving it a lot of hate, but I still
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and
I think you
Um,
enjoyed it because you're kind of going in not as like a hardcore
Right,
fan, and you
right,
didn't get
so-
the references maybe because it's
so
it's a direct.
he got I liked the
Yeah.
first one, I liked the second one, and I liked Beyond. So if they were like, hey, we're gonna make another Star Trek, and this is the cast or this is the direction, it's gonna follow
Yeah.
this timeline, then I would definitely be in. But I'm not a Trekkie.
Well,
Is
here-
is one of, because you said there's like 3 scripts. Is one of them by Abrams or no?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. Well, here's the thing for me is I actually enjoyed the Abrams films, and I get why people didn't like the second one because it was basically a riff on the Wrath of Khan, and so it was kind of almost a rehash of a story that fans had already seen.
Okay.
And Beyond, I know people liked it because it was more true to the Trek series, but for me, Beyond what it didn't really fit in with the previous two. It didn't mesh well.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed that cast. So like I want to see them continue on. I really enjoyed Chris Pine, Zoe Saldana, Zachary Quinto. I really enjoyed that whole cast. I think they all have great chemistry. They work really
Yeah.
well together. But they need to tighten up the stories, and they need like the visuals to fit. Now the Tarantino thing is really exciting and interesting to hear because from what I had read and heard is that he's a really huge Star Trek fan. He even
Yeah.
uses a Star Trek quote at the beginning of Kill Bill, which is or a dish. Revenge is a dish best served cold, which is from the Wrath of Khan, and
Nerd.
but from what I heard, he's working on it. But like, so that's interesting. But I don't see Paramount ever actually putting that out there because I think if Tarantino does it, it's going to have his flair and flavor
Yeah.
to it, and I don't know if Paramount is willing to take that kind of risk.
Well, I mean, I mean, like you said, they're underperforming. So it's like, what can they lose? It's Tarantino.
That is true,
So-
and I think that would get a lot of curiosity and people would go to see it. But for me personally, as a Trek fan, I honestly, my thing is, I think they need to go back to the idea of focusing on what it was before. A TV series about themes, about social commentary, and all that. And then when you have a movie, don't do it don't announce a trilogy and do all this, whatever. Just use that same, whatever popular TV series that they have going at the time, use that same TV cast to do a film, just a one-off. It doesn't need to be a trilogy. It doesn't need to be like, let's continue the series. Let's just do a one-off with a really strong story, and then that's it. Move on. I think that's the best thing because Trek has never really been that big, movie thing. That was always a Star Wars thing. The reason why they started doing a lot of these Trek films was because they saw, hey, we're a space movie. Star Wars did it. We can do it too. We were here first. Let's do it.
Right.
And they kind of hit and miss with some of them. Some of them were good. Some of them were not. It was like every other one, But for me as a Trek fan, I would like to see them just focus on their series, get their social commentaries down. Just having really tight, strong stories about characters and about something that will really, really work. And I think that's what will kind of bring back a lot of the Trek fans and then maybe some new fans.
Well, I'm a new fan, and they got me. So I think I actually bought Beyond and Into Darkness. So I'm a new fan, I guess, if you would say. Don't call me a Trekkie though. Don't call me a Trekkie. Nuh-uh.
All right. I will not.
Okay.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for listening to our real talk. If you have any comments on any of the topics that we covered, which we covered quite a bit today, why don't you comment down below and let us know what you thought of any of it. And also, if you want us to talk about anything in the future, why don't you comment down below and let us know about that too. Also, don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram at On the Fence Movie Reviews.
And remember, we'll catch you on the fence.